YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back with the divisional round recap. We do this recap video every single week. Every week we also got score predictions for the upcoming games. We got straight up picks with multiple Frogs Angels members. We got live streams. We got power rankings, all kinds of fun stuff. Off season, we got free agency and draft. Lots of stuff going on here. But crazy week. I guess really not too many upsets, or maybe none of them were upsets, but the way the scores ended up being and the way the games ended were pretty crazy. So we're going to recap it right here. As you can see in the top left, that's our Twitter, Frogs_Angels. Link in the description. We talk during live games there. I go on rants sometimes. We talk every day on there. So check it out. That'd be much appreciated. First game was the Colts and the Chiefs, 31-13. Rough one for the Colts and a good one for the Chiefs, obviously. But the thing that was just funny to me about this one, and it doesn't apply to Colts fans. You know, there's nothing wrong with having confidence in your team. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. This is kind of the other people out there. You know, the Colts played the Texans last week. Credit to them. 6th seed, young team. They go out there and dominate. So I don't want to take any credit away, but honestly, the Texans are probably one of the weaker teams in the playoffs. That game ends the way it does. You know, the so-called experts are saying, you know, the Colts might do this. They might beat the Chiefs. And all of a sudden it turned into they're going to beat the Chiefs. All these people saying they're going to beat the Chiefs. It was almost like it was a fact, which was kind of mind-blowing to me because it's going to be in Kansas City, the number one scoring offense, maybe the best team in all of football. Colts are very young, very good, very impressive team. But that was kind of surprising to me. And then it turned into it's going to snow. The weather's going to be, you know, the weather's not going to be pretty. Even though it's in Kansas City. So that gives the advantage to the Colts. I don't know who came up with that. Somebody said that. Everybody jumped on that train. It kind of spread. It just spread all over the place. Like, I don't know who came up with that. It wasn't smart, and people just listened to the wrong people. In Kansas City, they're at their home field. The weather's bad, so that's advantage. Colts, I don't know about that. And the Colts play indoor, too. It's mind-blowing. I don't know who came up with that. And you can see the weather actually affected the Colts more. Chiefs were just fine. The Chiefs really tear up defenses like this. You know, there's a lot of zone, and these design plays are just beautiful for the Chiefs. You know, these screen passes, you know, 1 second you think they're throwing downfield, and nope, there's a screen pass on one side developing. Nope, they throw it to the other side in the screen pass. Maybe it's Kelsey, maybe it's the running back, maybe it's Tyreek Hill, or maybe Mahomes just launches it downfield. It's near, we talked about this before, near impossible to game plan against, near impossible to stop. And like I said, they're better against zone defenses, but if you man up on these guys, they're just too athletic. So it's a very tough team to face. And I guess that was pretty obvious, but I guess not to a lot of people that were really feeling the Colts. I'm not talking about Colts fans. You know, you got to respect their confidence in their team. But the most mind-blowing thing about the Colts, I guess surprising thing about the Colts, if you were on their side, what was their offense. You know, they couldn't get anything going. Few 3-and-outs to start, and that's against the Chiefs defense. Credit to the Chiefs defense, mainly the pass rush, which I expected to be a factor. And how good is D Ford? D Ford is something else. He's gonna be a free agent. Man, he's an elite pass rusher this season, and that's crazy. But he is. Chris Jones played solid. A lot of those guys played solid. So credit to the Chiefs defense for slowing them down, not letting them get first downs. There was a couple drops early. Also, Luck got a couple batted passes early. You know, he has time. So, I mean, at that point in the game. So, he's got to get that ball past the line of scrimmage. He's got to get it to the receivers. But then the receivers were kind of dropping the ball. Both teams, Chiefs early were dropping the ball quite a bit, but it didn't really matter. They're still able to overcome it. That's what I like about the Chiefs so much. So, yeah, the surprising thing was the Colts offense couldn't get things going. Their first touch, they had a touchdown on special teams before they had a first down on offense. That can't happen. But they're young. They're going to be back, you know, as long as they're healthy, good coaching staff. So we'll see what they got for the future. Should be pretty fun. They got a lot of cap room, too. And it's almost like they don't need to make a lot of moves, too. That's the most impressive thing about the Colts. They don't need to make a lot of moves, but they will because they have the cap space, and they'll be that much better. But, again, good game from the Chiefs. They got the Patriots this week. Like I said, the Chiefs play better against zone defenses, but it is hard to man up against them. But the Patriots do play a lot of man, so that's going to be a fun matchup. Can't wait for that game. Two high-scoring offenses. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the next game. Cowboys 22, Rams 30. Very impressive from the Rams on the run game here. Insanely impressive, actually. It was, just to do that against any team. And the Cowboys, maybe the best defense remaining in the playoffs. Surprising that, they were struggling the way they were struggling. You got to give credit. You got to give credit to the running backs of the Rams, but Gurley and C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson came out of nowhere, very surprising. But the main credit goes to the offensive line. The week break really helped. The rest really helped that offensive line. That's the best run blocking offensive line in football. Holes were gigantic. Very impressive. And they can pass block too. There was times, it was the good thing to see from the Rams is they were able to keep the lead and make it so they can keep the run game going because they were struggling a little bit in the pass early. Any kind of pressure for Goff, he panicked through a very inaccurate ball. So he's got to be better on that in the next round. But he kind of got it going a little later. But I like the play calling a lot. The running game was great. Stick to it. We seen McVay. Always said McVay had a great system. For the most part, play calling was good, but there was times where play calling was bad because you went away from what was working. He stuck to it. Loved that. Loved the play call to end the game to that rollout, which either can dump it off or run it, and he ran for a first down. Surprised the Cowboys fell for the fakes and let Goff run for the first down. But then, and the Cowboys had a crucial fourth down earlier in the game. Not earlier in the game, but earlier than when Goff got that first down, obviously. It was that crucial fourth down. The Rams went and kind of put the game away on what we thought at the time. But the Cowboys ran at the Zeke. He got stuffed. They really should have done a rollout, play-action rollout there because Dak can run. He's very athletic, or he can dump it off. There's two options there. I think he runs. He gets the first down. But if somebody's on him, then he passes it. I thought that made more sense. They stacked the line. They thought Zeke was coming. So, can't blame coaching too much for the Cowboys, but that one instance, they could have done a better job there. We're going to back up, though, going back to earlier in the game when it was still a ball game. The Cowboys scored the first time they had the ball, and it was easy. I think I don't know how they couldn't do that anymore. Credit to the Rams defense, a little surprising there. But, Dak hit some throws. He hit some really good ones, some on the run, cross-body throws that were ridiculous. But then he had some bad ones, too, almost a pick six at one point. But there was two crucial mistakes by the officials in this game, which I'm not going to say the Cowboys would have won, if they got these calls. I'm not saying the Rams needed the refs' help, but there was two game-changing calls earlier in this one. The Rams had a 3rd and 14, I believe it was, and the corner, this one I shouldn't say was really bad. It was crucial. It was a big moment. I'm not going to say it was really bad, but the corner of the Cowboys swiped the face mask of the Rams receiver. It would have been 4th down, but it's an automatic first down, He hit. It was hands to the face. It was hands to the face, very slight. So I guess it's up to the official. I guess some official crews would call this, some wouldn't. There was some ridiculous holding in any game, every play that they let go, because they don't want to. The good reason for that would be because they don't want to decide the game off all these holdings. They're only going to call the really, really, really bad ones. So in this case, they could have done the same thing, but technically it was the right call. It was the right rule, but it gave them a first down. I don't know if I agree with the rule. That shouldn't be an automatic first down. It's a bailout. And the Rams end up scoring off it. So I don't know if they really earned that score. Not saying they wouldn't have won the game at all. They dominated this game. But the one not long after that, right before the half, this one was one of the questionable calls of the playoffs. Probably the most questionable call of the playoffs was when Dak was about to get sacked. He evades it, and then his lineman holds him up, and then they run in there like madmen and blow the whistles. Like, that is uncalled for, unnecessary, and that resulted in a sack that they didn't get a sack. They didn't really get a sack. Somebody had him by the tip of the shoe. So they're once again, they're kind of bailed out, rewarded with the sack there. When it was not a sack, it was the refs running in and blowing the whistles. There was a problem all week with refs running in and blowing the whistles way, way too early. And then 1 second, they won't blow the whistle at all. They'll let it go too long. That was all weekend for all games. That was a problem. So that call I did not like. Dak could have made a play. Maybe he wouldn't have. So the refs helped out the Rams early on in this game. And maybe that did put the game away. Maybe the Cowboys could have won. But overall, the Rams dominated this game. They were outsmarted. The Cowboys couldn't stop the run. And then Goff and that great play there on that 3rd down was epic. I already kind of talked about, I liked about the Rams' game plan was to stay in the game and run the ball. You run the clock, you still scored 30 points. You know, by doing all that, you should be in the game still, and the better running team will win the game, which it could be the Cowboys because they have Zeke, but the Rams trusted their game. They stuck to it, didn't go away from it. I liked it. I really liked it. They got the Saints next. If they can do a similar style game plan and throw the ball downfield a little bit, then they may have a ball game. But playing in LA and then playing New Orleans is a little bit different. But credit to the Rams there in that game. Good season for the Cowboys. A little surprising they really picked it up. Was really impressed with Dak and the defense for most of the year. Surprising that the run defense struggled as much as they did, especially against C.J. Anderson. Credit to him, though. So Rams Saints next week. Can't wait. Moving on to the next game, the Chargers Patriots, and everyone knows that this score really doesn't show how bad of a beating it really was. I don't even know how I can talk a lot about this game. It was really not even close. It was just great game planning by the Patriots, as we expected. I was confident about the Patriots, mainly because they're home. They're 8-0 at home this year. They're a playoff team. You know, another kind of surprising thing, you know, the so-called experts kind of brainwashed everybody. The Patriots weren't that good this year. Tom Brady wasn't that good, so he's not going to be this good. Wrong. It's playoffs. You got the best coaching staff of all time. They can game plan. You got the best quarterback of all time, even if he's a little off his game. They're home. They're 8-0 at home. You know, the Chargers, it wasn't uncalled for if you pick the Chargers in any way. They're a complete team. They got playmakers. But the reasoning some of these experts say is just ridiculous. But yeah, credit to the game plan of the Patriots. They came out. They could have scored a lot more points in this game, I think, if they wanted to. Man, the credit that we gave the Chargers defense and Gus Bradley last week, that all goes away. They ran the same exact defense, too many DBs on the field. We thought, was it game planning last week? It looked like it was perfect for the Ravens defense, but was it just like, we're going to go in the playoffs doing this? I don't care who we're playing, because they did it again against the Patriots. Totally different team. The Ravens are a defensive team, totally different style offense. Surprising, very surprising. The Patriots took advantage. They dominated this game. They got a lot of weapons. It showed. Edelman was great. Credit to the Patriots defense early. I mean, the whole game, but really early. That just, you know, the offense and the playmakers, the plays they made, the way they marched downfield, it is going to get all the credit from everyone else. But the defense needs more credit. The pass rush was ridiculous. You don't really see the Patriots get that pass rush credit to the blitz. You see why Flores might get this job for the Patriots or for the Dolphins. You know, he's a good defensive-minded guy. Credit to the secondary, the whole defense. They were great. The tackling we seen it was weak during the whole year, not the whole year, most of the year. They were gang tackling. They weren't missing tackles. It was great. So this game wasn't even close. Patriots dominated, surprised by that Chargers defense, Chargers game plan, really. And I was surprised they weren't able to move the ball a little easier. Similar to the Colts, you know, you're surprised that the weaker defense they were playing, well, I guess they're not as weak as we thought, but surprised they weren't able to move the ball a little more. But credit to the Patriots. Great game there. Eagles and Saints, what a crazy game. I thought this game would be in the 30s for both teams, so surprising it was low scoring. There was some turnovers in this game. First play of the game was a turnover, a deep pass. I'm not too worried about this one. What I am worried about, I guess, we can see Bree's arm strength. We saw it last year. I want to say the Vikings game, early in the first half. He was a lot short on these deep balls, and it happened again here. In this game, you know, a few times, but it's so close. That's why I'm not too worried about it. If it was a yard further, it's a touchdown. Credit to LeBlanc. LeBlanc he hasn't got enough credit. He's been great for this Eagles secondary. So great pick there. You know, I can't believe this game wasn't more scoring. I guess there was players dropping like flies. They're getting hurt left and right. So that was a factor, mainly from the Eagles side. Unfortunately, Sheldon Rankins tore his Achilles. That's very unfortunate, especially going forward. The injuries were very, very unfortunate, though. Nick Foles, that touchdown pass to Jordan Matthews early, he was about to get drilled. He knew it was coming. He stayed. You watch his feet. He stays completely calm and unleashes just a perfect ball. Such a great quarterback. I think on any team. People talk about the system. Yeah, you're going to need to run a somewhat similar system, but I think really on any team he can play, you know. So, that was ridiculous. He had 2 picks. You can't really blame him too much, especially for the last one, which we'll get to in a little bit. But really, the Eagles' problem at offense is the running game. No running game. And, injuries didn't help. But I like that front office. I like their plan, their draft plan, their free agency plan. Love it. It got them a Super Bowl last year. But they didn't want to overvalue running backs ever. That's a group that doesn't want to overvalue running backs, but I think it might be time to make sure you go get your running back. Do your homework on your running backs. Find your guy. If you really like one, and I think you go get him. Whether it's the first round, second round, I think you go get them. And, they got guys that were out or guys that are even in. They can play. Jay Ajayi I like, but is he the guy for the long run? You don't really know. I don't know if he is. I like Jay Ajayi, though. But I think you can go find your guy that fits Carson Wentz, because Wentz is the future, even though I'm more of a Foles guy. But that's the direction you're going. So you got to go get a running back. You got to go get your guy. You got to get secondary, too, and maybe a couple pass rushers, because some of these guys might be leaving, or maybe they'll re-sign. We will see. Going to be a fun free agency for the Eagles. But, yeah, I keep saying it, but I cannot believe there was not more scoring in this game. Back to the Saints. It's almost like the Saints didn't have enough offensive or enough snaps. It was very strange, You want to see them throw the ball downfield more. I guess the pick scared them away from that, but I think it can work. But then you want to see Kamara and Ingram get the ball more, but they didn't get the ball enough. It's weird. It's almost like you need more of that. Eagles pass rush was pretty solid. Threw Breeze off a little bit here and there. Fletcher Cox got hurt, came back in, and was dominant again. What would happen if he stayed in the game? Eagles had 2 linemen out of the game at one point, with Brooks out pretty much all of the game, and then Peters was out. So, man, if the Eagles stayed healthy, could they have won? If Alshon didn't drop that ball, could they have won? If they let the 2-minute warning come, could they have won? I think maybe. Like I was talking about with the Saints, deep pass, they try it again. I believe it was third quarter, and it was a tip pass. I believe it was Maddox. A half a yard more from Breeze to the touchdown. These deep passes are right there, ready to work. If these work, they're that close. If these work, then they get an easy win. So, yeah, I want to see them do more of that, but I want to see Kamara and Ingram get the ball more. I'm way more of an Kamara guy than Ingram, but Ingram should have got the ball more, I'm usually on the side saying, why are they getting even snaps, carries, because Kamara's the guy, But in this case, Ingram didn't really get enough. I don't know if Kamara got enough either, and they didn't do enough deep passes. I'm repeating myself, but it's kind of weird how this all happened. But then the Eagles, back to that last drive. I think the Eagles would have won. It's just something I felt, with all those guys out too. It's just something I felt. It's surprising to see that from Alshon. It's very surprising. And Marshawn Lattimore and the Saints defense just continues to come up with these big-time turnovers. We talked about this going in. The Saints need to keep taking advantage of these crucial turnovers. They're not like the Bears. I think the Bears led the NFL in turnovers. Bears are jumping up routes, taking balls, stripping guys. Nothing like that. Teams will get yards and Saints will push the field, and they'll just get this clutch. It's lucky, but that's part of the game, turnover. But is it? I keep saying, is it luck when they continue to do it and do it and do it? But there is a lot of luck involved in what happened there, going through Alshon's hands. But they continue to do it. They need to keep this up going into the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. They need to get at least one of these or those. But I think the Eagles would have done it. I really think the Eagles would have done it. Just a feeling of mine. I think they were going to score. I don't really get the hurry to the 2-minute, the hurry before the 2-minute warning. But at the same time, it was a good play. The guy should have caught it. I would have let the clock run out because you were going to be inside the 30. 2 minutes. You don't want to leave Saints time anyways. So just go get in the end zone with the last 2 minutes. That coaching staff, Doug Peterson's they're going to be mad at themselves. Like, we almost let this go to the 2-minute warning. And then Nick Foles, we almost didn't snap the ball. We snapped the ball at 2:01. Almost, they're going to be thinking about that. They're not going to be thinking about Alshon's drop. I guess that causes what they're thinking about. But they're going to be thinking about that for a long time going in the next year. So it's unfortunate. Let's see what happens with Nick Foles. Saints really didn't look all that good, but like I said, they're a yard from big plays that change the game even more. We'll see what they do against the Rams. It's gonna be a fun game in New Orleans. We'll see. We'll see if if that ending was too crazy for them. We seen it last year. It was way different, but when the Vikings beat the Saints on that crazy play, I think that got to the Vikings' head too much and affected them the next week. The Saints is a lot different, but the Saints, a little scary. They could have lost that game, and some of them know it. Marshawn Lattimore came up clutch. Some of them prior thinking, man, what if? So does that stick in their head? You always wonder about those types of things for players. It's tough. It's tough playing in these high-pressure moments, NFC Championship, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. The week break to the Super Bowl is the thing that gets me the most. Like these coaching staffs, players, you get time to rest, you get time to think about all this stuff, but you got to be thinking about it nonstop, and it's got to be hard. It's got to be real hard. I don't like that week break, but I guess it makes sense. That's going to do it for this one, though. Tomorrow we will have power rankings for the playoffs. I will do the 4 eliminated teams that just got eliminated, and then I'll do the 4 teams remaining. I'm gonna have keys to winning the Super Bowl for the 4 teams remaining, so that should be pretty fun. We'll have straight up picks tomorrow night with the boys. They're gonna have a skit once again. Those are always fun. Score predictions on Wednesday and plenty more throughout the week. Follow our Twitter, frogs_angels. Lots of good stuff on there. 10K is our subscriber goal. We're getting real close. Thanks to everyone's support. Clicking the like button would be much appreciated as well. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Goodbye.